Hello and welcome to my channel, What's Good on TV. My name is Nicole and I'm down here to give my review of Sister Wives, a man after my own heart. This episode, it was very much, I don't even know if filler was a right word. It's filler fluff. It's like you keep waiting for something to happen and it's like much of nothing happened. It reminds me of like the old adage, we're going to tell you what we're going to tell you, and then we're going to tell you, and then we're going to tell you what we told you. So it's almost like, oh, am I seeing this on a loop? Because it feels like I am seeing the same thing over again, reminders, refreshers, and just a little bit of something new that isn't always a lot of hoopla. So this really won't be very long because I'm really just going to go over the highlights. When we first open up, we see that Kody and Tony are going out for a little date, and Christine and David are coming over to babysit the twins. And Christine tells us how much she loves being a grandma because you can love them up and hand them back. Tells us again how great David is because David has finished raising his 8 children by himself and he has grandchildren. And so he's a great guy because he's willing to come over and help babysit too. Because if I was David, I'd be like, we have not known each other long enough for me to be over here taking care of 3 children under 5. But David, he shows up. David throws a little shade. Now that was interesting. David throws a little shade because when he and Christine are alone with the kids and they're on the floor playing, he looks around and goes, ooh, they cleaned up a little bit. And Christine's like, oh, I can't believe you said that. We have a little bit of a flashback where Christine reminds us of when she was young and raising the kids that they had 5 children in diapers. 5 in diapers, and that the arrangement that they had was that she would raise the kids during the day, take care of the kids during the day, and she ran it like a little daycare. And Janelle went out to work, and they really didn't mention Mary. They did not mention what Mary's role was in the whole thing, but Mary in her confessional says that when Christine and Janelle had their children, because they had children 4 days apart, which is a little, but anyway, they had kids 4 days apart. And so Mary had to request time off from her job to go and stay at home and help them out, which is not something they mentioned. One of the things I thought would be interesting is if they would, because if you watch these earlier episodes, we realize now they were lying. They were misleading us. They were hoodwinking us. They were making us think that this whole operation they had going on was running like a well-oiled machine. They were getting along great. Kody was amazing. I remember the fanfare over Kody, and maybe I remember it wrong because it was years ago, but they would, oh, Kody's so amazing. He's an amazing this. He's an amazing that. Look at him. He's Superman. He's awesome. He's great. There's a lot of fanfare, a lot of googly eyes at him. And so it did look like that looks really great. These women working together. They're not mad. They're not jealous. Kody's nice to everybody. He seems like a great guy. And now we realize it was lies. It was all lies and deceit. So what would be interesting is if when they had these flashbacks, if they would say, we know it looked like blank, but the truth is, and that would be interesting. Like, hey, I know it looked like we were all working together, but the truth is, it was just really me. And Janelle, she could have helped me at night, but she ain't helped me at night. Nobody helped me at night. That's why I had to ask my oldest girl to help me at night. And we was all in the same house. And I don't know why somebody didn't come downstairs and put these kids to bed for me after I've been with them all day. Because one of the things they did not tell us until later was that Christine used to work the night shift. She used to take care of those kids in her day, and then she would go to her job at night. And that is not something, unless I missed it and not remember. But that's not something they showed us and when these people first came out. But anyway, that would, maybe I should write the producers. That's a good plot right there. We pan over. We see Mary with her friend Jen. And I love Jen. Jen is that real friend that keep it real. And we see her with her friend Blair, who did the cottage house for her, or the carriage house for her. And now they're going to freshen up what looks like an attic room in her house. And it's not real clear she's going to make it an office because she joked about putting a bed in the corner. And they're joking around, and to me, the joking feels forced. We're supposed to be witty and funny and showing that we're having the best times of our lives. And we're just here to help paint. And they're slopping the paint on the wall. I couldn't tell if that was paint or primer because it looked really sloppy. Now, if you putting primer on, you will not do it neat, but it looked a hot mess what they were doing. Mary is catching them up on her life, and of course Kody, and she says, you know, how she's moving on with her life, and they're asking her about dating. Mary's, I'm not ready to date. I've only been single for 1 month. And Jen says, you mean 10 years? And I'm like, okay, Jen, that's the truth. It really has been 10 years. Ma'am, you have been with this man in forever. And she also shares with them that Kody had actually told her a long time ago, hey, I stopped trying to be in this relationship 2 years ago. But he didn't tell her. Now, he acted it out as best as he could. He did all kinds of signs, pointing like this, but she did not pick up on any of the signs. She was going by what he was saying out of his mouth. And what he was saying out of his mouth was actually leading her on. He wanted her to come to Flagstaff. So he promised her, oh, we're going to have this fresh new start. We're going to try again. And so she gets to Flagstaff and they go out on a couple of dates, and she said he just dropped her. She even mentions, and I'm like, oh, these producers, why don't they follow up on this stuff? She even says Kody gave her a list one time, a list of things that if she worked on it, then he would agree to work on the relationship. And I said, the nerve and audacity. Where do they do? Is that something in their culture? Where do they do that at? Where, okay, I am married to you, but I'm not going to do anything in this marriage. I'm not going to work on anything until you go through this list of things that are not negotiable. And then I will grace you with my presence in this. No. But she doesn't even tell us what's on the list. And the producers do not follow up with, man, what was on that list? Can you give us one thing on the list? Nothing. She just says there was a list. And she did all the things on the list. And then he didn't show up. But I want to know what was on the list. Come back and tell us what was on the list. I suspect one of the things on the list was probably about Robin. Because if you remember, Christine, he told Christine that he wanted her to do some things for him to love her. The nerve. Like, his love is the prize. But he wanted her to do some things. And one of the things that he wanted Christine to do was to be a better sister wife. And she knew that meant a sister wife to Robin. So it makes me wonder if that was one of the things that was on Robin's list. Not Robin, on Mary's list. Was that she had to be a better sister wife to Robin. Because if you think about it, even though Mary and Robin act like we bosom buddies and we always love each other the best, it would make sense that she had a list where she had to treat her a certain way, because she's never critical of Robin, and only here lately does she let a little something slide about Robin. So I bet it was on that list that she had to be good to Robin, but it was a list. That means multiple things, and these people didn't even follow up with, can you act it out? Can you write it on a piece of paper, slide over here, tell us what it is? So then we are with Christine. And Christine is showing Isabel her brand new home. Gorgeous home. It is so nice. And so Isabel is taking a tour. And of course, but Christine tells us for the umpteenth time that yes, it's going fast. And no, I don't care about what these kids feel about it. We're not slowing down. We're going faster. And I'm like, stop. She keeps saying, well, you better know, because you haven't spent hardly a season with this man, and you are counting on him being all the things on your list. We know now that they've been together for a whole year, but it takes more than a few weeks to know somebody, to know them. And I'm around Christine's age, so miss me with the, well, you know when you know. You don't know. You don't know. It takes a while to learn a person. It does. So I'm glad things are working out, but I don't believe that you can just skip over the knowing part. You can just skip over the learning part because you feel like you have a sense of who they are. So I just feel like she could be a little bit more sensitive to what her children are experiencing as they go through this transition, right? So Isabel is shook up and she's crying, and she's asking her mom, will David replace her dad? and she's really upset that this is going to be the end of their relationship. And I was curious about, I would have wanted to know a little bit more about what Isabel meant, because at first it hit my ear like, Mom, are you wanting me? Are you replacing my dad with this man? And am I supposed to, are you wanting me to feel like he's my dad? But it also hit my ear like, okay, if I have a relationship with David, will my dad then not want to have a relationship with me? But even if I'm questioning those things, imagine what they might be questioning, because Isabel apparently, obviously, still wants a relationship with her dad. And she says in her confessional that David's great and how she likes seeing him with his own children because he's so present and so loving and so caring. But she wishes she had that with her dad. And I was like, oh, that Kody is a trifling blah. Because Isabel's the daughter that he didn't show up for when she had her spinal surgery. And even then she cried in the confessional and was heartbroken. And that should have been a sign for him when he saw that, like, I need to amp up my relationship efforts. I need to show up for my children, and they shouldn't be on TV hungering for me, missing me, wanting to be in relationship with me. She's, telling her mom, and Christine is, again saying he will be to you what you need him to be to you. He will not replace your dad. He will be your stepfather if you need him to do this and that. And I imagine that's hard to really trust, because Isabel is probably like, I'm supposed to be trusting this man that you've only known for 4-5 months, that he will be an emotional support for me, when she really he hadn't been around that long. So I can imagine how that's really hard for her to trust. Like, this is not going to end relationship with my dad, and this is somebody who hasn't been around that long, who is promising that he'll be around for me. But I think she's really struggling with that. Christine also shares that she is nervous about living with a man because she never really lived with a man before. Kody was not even part-time. Like, he would come, spend the night, get up in the morning, and be gone. So she's not used to having like a presence in her house where he's always there. And that is very different. So she's nervous about it, but she talked it out with him. And it's interesting when she talks about being nervous and things like that, because she also doesn't give her children that same kind of thing. Like, if you're nervous about living with a man full time that you're in love with, imagine Trudy might be a little nervous too. She doesn't know what it is to live with a man full time. She doesn't understand, okay, what's your role going to be? What's that going to look like? Because she hadn't seen a man in her house full time. So just Isabel and Truly are struggling with this. I just wish she would slow down, not stop what you're doing, but slow down, really validate. Okay, I know this is hard and this is scary, because it's not just him coming in their lives, but it's also this whole transition. Like, now my mom is going to be married to somebody else full time. What does that look like? So it's a lot of change. It's a lot of change. So we are back with Mary. And Mary is going over to Robin and Kody's house. And she tells us that she's going over, even though she don't feel like she owes them a thing. And she don't really. But she goes over to let them know that she's decided to break her lease and leave early to go back and live in Peoria. And when she does, they are, I don't know, to me they're acting a little weird. Did y'all not know she was coming over? They're acting all, is it about the M word? And I'm thinking, does this M stand for murder? What? Why are you saying that in front of this little 10, 12-year-old girl? And she's, yes. And so that's when she explains, I am actually moving. Mary, they want to know why so soon. And Kody gets in a confessional and says, really, I was thinking this was good for Mary, but I can't really share with Mary what's in my heart because it's not safe. The most unsafe person loves to talk about how it ain't safe. But anyway, he says it's not safe for me to share with her what's in my heart. And I was thinking that it might be good for her, which makes no sense to me, because you're legally divorced from her. You're spiritually divorced from her. You have kicked her all the way to the curb. So if you were to say to her, Mary, I'm glad you're making changes for yourself, I think it might be good. What is she going to do with that? What is she going to do with that? Is she going to attack you, unhinge her jaw and eat you whole? What is Mary going to do with that information? That is so unsafe for you to say something like that. But anyway, Mary lets them know, I'm out, deuces. She better than me, because they'd have been looking for me. They'd have came around the house and be like, she don't live here no more. I'm gone. But no, she tells them. And she also puts the question to Kody, like, oh, can you come and help me move and then drive the truck? And you know what Kody should have said or shared what was in his heart was, no, I'm not doing all that. We're divorced. But no, he says, yeah, no, I'll come and help. And Mary makes a joke. I think it was a joke. She says, that'll be part of my servant's package. And they're like, bristling a little bit, like, oh, is that funny? Is that passive aggressive? Honey, I think it was passive aggressive. I think she feels like I have put a whole lot into this relationship and I have got nothing from you people. So I'm going to need you to come help me move. It costs a lot to pay movers. And since you ain't gave me nothing, you can come and help me do that part. One of the other things that Mary shares with us is that she really hasn't had a whole lot of contact with Solomon and Aria. I don't know how to say her name, Robin's kids. And I thought that was interesting because they made it sound like, oh, you know what, Mary is close to us, but Mary said it's like pulling teeth to go and see those kids. Again, no one follows up with Mary. No one says, oh, Mary, say more about that. I want to know more about that. Why are you not able to go? And no one even questioned Robin. Someone should have questioned Robin and her, instead of her bemoaning about the women turned against me and Robin, how is it that Mary says it was hard for her to come and see your children? I thought you guys were close. No, nobody even puts the question to her. So Robin did say one interesting thing this whole episode, and the one interesting thing she shared was that she was actually happier and he was happier when the wives were around. And I actually found that kind of hard to believe. I don't know, maybe she says it is, so it must be so. But I was like, really? Is it because the women were all putting their money in the pot? Is that why? Or was it because you were getting a break from him actually being like right here in your face all the time? But she said that he was happier and she was happier. But I find that hard to believe because he's talking about how he can't stand these women. How was he happier? Anyway, I don't know. Maybe the truth is Robin was happier because she had all these women put money in her pot, and he had all these other women to get him out of the house. And so maybe she was happier. And because I can't believe he was happier. I just don't. We get a little bit of Janelle, and Janelle really is only making comments. We don't know what's going on with Janelle this episode. And so Janelle really only comments on how Christine has really changed, and how, and of course when we first met Christine, they were very Mormon and strict about it, and Christine was very much a lion toter. And now that she's older, she's gotten away from the faith. Now she's tatted up, drinking, moving in with boyfriends, and they're giving her the business about how much she's changed. But you know what, people do change. They do change. And if you hadn't changed from the time you was 20-something to the time you 50-something, not right with that. We see Mary tell the kids that she is going to be moving, which I thought was odd. Because I'm like, they wanted Mary to tell Aria and Solomon that she was moving. And I'm thinking, they're your kids. Why don't you tell them? Aria she was saying, oh, you moving? And then they seemed all right. Now, and again, Mary ain't somebody they've seen a lot of. So that's probably like, you still live here. Oh, okay. So we see Christine and David, and they are out at Moab. I think that's how they pronounce it. They're riding ATVs because they're celebrating somebody's birthday. And I don't even think they showed that person on camera, but they're like, hey, we're celebrating someone's birthday, and we always come out here to celebrate. And they have little Truly in the back seat, and it was gorgeous. Like, on one side you could see snow-capped mountains, and then on the other side you could see the desert. And I was like, that really is gorgeous. And they're taking a little selfie, and David has his arm around Christine, and Truly's in the back seat. And so Truly bites David's hand, literally bites his head at her big grown age, and he says, ow, that hurts. Christine laughs, ha 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 ha. I'm like, y'all better pay truly some attention. Truly is not as happy as y'all think she is with all of this. I don't think she's being cute. Every time she sees David and Christine close, she wants to run in between them. She's biting hands. She's causing a distraction. Maybe this is not as easy for her as y'all think it is, and maybe it's just not a matter of she'll work it out with herself. Because she bit his whole hand to get him to move his arm away from her. So anyway, they laugh it off. Next thing we see is Christine, her and David are out, and David's, hey friend, take a picture of us. And while he's taking a picture, David proposes, and it's sweet. And it's really not even that climatic, because this is just like, hey, we already know you're getting married. I already see you got the rings, the house, all of that. So it's just, so they're proposed. They're engaged. And that is the end of the episode. Again, it was full of fluff. And we're waiting on to see, like, is something interesting really going to pop off? We shall see. I'll keep watching. If you're still here, I want to say thank you. And if you could leave a comment, a thumbs up, come back next week, I'll be glad to see you. Take care.